This tutorial is going to be a pretty... I was going to try to fit it all into 10 minutes, but I felt a little rushed. I could do it in 10 minutes, but I'm going to split it up into two videos. And in this tutorial, I'm going to be using Slitaz, I believe is how you say it, as my distro. But in reality, you probably want to use a more stable distribution, such as like Debian, for something like this. But if you're just trying to have fun at home, or you could use Slitza, but in an actual work environment, I suggest using Debian. And what we're going to do is create a mail server backup. So if you're working for a company and you need to keep logs of all the emails from a remote server, this is one way of doing it. Slitaz that I'm using now, I'm using their base version. It's 8 megabytes, the entire operating system. There are going to be a few things we have to install. The thing, as you can see in a VirtualBox here, it booted in 7 seconds, which is pretty impressive. So I'm going to log in as root. The default password for root is root off the live CD. Obviously, once you install the system, you'd want to edit that. And I'm going to use Taz package, which is their package manager. That's kind of like Aptitude if you're used to Aptitude. And I'm going to say recharge. And what this does, it's like saying Aptitude update. It's going to grab a new list of packages available for Slitaz. And like I said, most of the things I'm going to install here are going to be installed by default on other systems. The first one, so Taz package get install, so it's going to download and install Nano, which is just a text editor I like. Once again, probably installed on most distributions. See, it's already installed there. Python, I'm going to install Python because we're going to use a open source script called getmail, which is Python based. Almost every distribution of Linux has Python already installed. Slitaz doesn't, just because it's so small. Once again, it's 8 megabytes to begin with. And Python's going to take a minute to install, so I'm going to explain why I'm doing this tutorial. This tutorial is because I recently have been working with a company that went to iHost Exchange to set up an email server, even though they already had email service through GoDaddy. Now, not everyone loves GoDaddy, but regardless of who your domain provider is, almost everybody gives you at least 100 emails for your domain included in your domain price. This company probably has a few more than 100 people, but you can buy extra accounts from GoDaddy. But basically, they're paying a lot more for something they already paid for with GoDaddy. So they did that so that they could also set up a local server, which I'm sure they paid way too much for, probably a couple $1,000s, knowing the way companies try to manipulate these smaller companies to do mail backups. So I'm going to show you with this simple script how to back up any server using POP3, which almost all mail servers use. You could also use IMAP in other cases. And as I said, the script I'm going to use is called getmail. And you probably, if you're a little more advanced and you want more features, fetchmail is probably a better option, but I found getmail to be simpler, and I wanted to keep this tutorial simple, and we're just going to do basic backups. Okay, Python is done installing. I'm also going to install Lynx, which is a text-based web browser. It makes it easy for me to go and get mail, because it is not in the Slitza repositories, although it is in the Ubuntu repositories, as long as you have the community-based releases checked in server sources. Now that this is going to download, there'll be one more thing I'm going to install later on. So we have that stuff installed. I'm going to exit out of root, although you could do this all as root, but I'm going to log in as a regular user. In this case, Tux is the default user, no password by default on this live CD. Once again, once you install it, whatever distribution, make sure you set up secure passwords. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in links google.com, and we're opening up Google, and you can see it's text-based, but it's Google just like you're used to having. And in the search line, I'm going to type in getmail, and I'm going to do a search for getmail. The first thing on the list here is getmail version 4. That is the current version at this time, although obviously in the future that number will go up. I will choose that, and I will go down to right here. We have platform neutral tarball format. So this will run on Mac, Linux, Windows, probably BSD, whatever you're using, as long as you can install Python, which is pretty much every major operating system out there. I'm going to hit enter to choose that, enter to save, and enter again to choose that name. It's already downloaded. I'm going to hit Q to exit out of my browser here. And then we're going to untar that tarball, or unzip that tarball. So I'm going to type in tar-zxvf and the name of the file. So there we go, we have that. And if I hit ls to list what's inside my folder right now, I have the tarball we downloaded and then the folder that it created and extracted all its files to. And right now, we pretty much have everything installed that we have to install, and we're just going to have to set up the configuration files to tell it what server to look at, what to download, and where to download it to. And I will get to that in the next tutorial. So stay tuned, it will be up right after this one's up.